We're live and living color. Live and living color. What's good? We live and living color. Salute to everybody in the chat so far. Salute to everybody in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I salute you all that's viewing this live right now. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here with your boy, Manager Marty, this evening. Come on in. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna talk some business of boxing this evening. Okay? Yeah, come on in. Come on in. Yeah, this is going to be a good live this evening. You know, this is going to be a little laid back live this evening. You know, as I mentioned to you all before, that on Friday night, that Tuesday nights is going to be the day that I begin the week with a live, and then of course Friday evening as well. So Tuesday and Friday evenings, that's when I'm going to do my lives on the channel. And I appreciate you all viewing the live. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. Slowly but surely. Come on in. Salute to everybody in the chat. If you are watching the replay of this live, I welcome you. Those of you that are viewing this live right now, I welcome you. Excuse me. As I always mention in the preliminary stages of every live that I conduct, you do not have to dust your feet off when you come in, and you do not have to ring the doorbell because the door is already unlocked and even open for you, because you are welcome in this live. So come on in. Excuse me. I appreciate you all in the chat. I see you. Salute to you all in the chat. Come on in. Come on in. Excuse me. I apologize, y'all. I apologize for my voice right now. I got a little headache right now. But we're gonna get through it this evening. No excuses. I gave y'all my word that I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come on here on Tuesday night, and that's where we at. So I'm waiting for a couple of more people in the audience to come on in live. And we're gonna get started, man. We're gonna talk some boxing, some business of boxing this evening, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, please, if you can, if you've already entered into the live, I encourage you, if you're willing, please click on the like button as you enter in, or you can wait until you know you hear or see something that you when I say see, I'm talking about in the chat, that you agree with, that you like. You know, no hassle, no hassle. It will be helpful if you click the like button. I appreciate it in advance. Salute to everybody in the chat. I see you all acknowledging me. I appreciate your time. Appreciate it. I know we had a little bit of a late start. I was trying to shake the cobwebs off this evening. Not really feeling too well, but we here now. We're here. We're gonna talk some business of boxing. Y'all see that? Y'all see them three letters? Letters. See, I told you I don't feel good. Them three words. Y'all see them three words right there on that screen? Roll the tape. Y'all know what I do. Yeah, we're gonna dive right into it. Let me see something real quick, man. I want to see. Hold on for a second, y'all. Let me see if I can get back on here. There I go. Yeah, I like to show my face when I can. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. Welcome, welcome. Before I start, right, I want to say a few things. Let me put my glasses on, because if I put my glasses on, it'll help me stop squinting. That'll then stop my head from hurting. I got a little headache. I don't really feel too well this evening, but we here now. Anyway, I want to address a few things uh, rather quickly. Put these on so I won't squint. Um, Salute to everybody in the chat one more time. Come on in. Come on, I welcome you. Um, Let me say this real quick, right? It's okay if we don't have a lot of viewership live this evening. Okay? I understand tonight is Tuesday. I understand that it's a weekday. I understand that this is my first time conducting a live in the beginning of the week. I understand that. But I will tell you this. As long as at least one person that's viewing this live or any of the content that I publish on this channel learns at least one thing that you did not know before encountering the content of this channel, I promise you, I am highly satisfied. Okay? Let me address something else. And I think this is as equally as important. I really appreciate everyone who salute me in the chat, not just in this chat, but even when I enter into other channels, whether it be their chat or whether it be their panel. I acknowledge you all. Thank y'all for your support. Those of you that are returning viewers of this channel, those of you that are subscribers, I want to say I thank y'all for your support, for you all encouraging me. As we all know at this point, I am a rookie on YouTube. So there are a lot of things that I do not know how to do. And one of those things that I do not know how to do just yet, but I promise you I'm going to work on it so I can learn, is that when I want to put a video link in the description, I'm trying to figure out how do I find out you know how I say youtube.com slash whatever, that code or whatever of that particular content. I don't know how to do that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because part one that I put out there of the last video I did when I talked about Roy Jones Jr. and Michael Williams Sr. Most of you may probably have seen the video that I published. I'm not sure if you have. If you haven't, I'm referring to the last video I did prior to this live. I put the at I put the at Mark Nash in the description, right? So that people can know that the interview that Mike Williams Sr. did, that I was actually evaluating and analyzing, came from Mark Nash. But I didn't put the actual youtube.com slash, you know how you get that? I don't know how to do it, but I didn't include that in the description. So it might appear that I did it on purpose, but I'm telling you all, I did not do that intentionally. I don't know how to do it, and I'm not afraid to admit that I don't know how to do something, especially on YouTube. So I just wanted to say that publicly, since I published pieces of the content of Mark Nash publicly. I did at Mark Nash in it, but I want to say this: uh, if Mark Nash, if you are listening to this, or if anybody that knows Mark Nash, you can go back and share this with him. I did receive your email, Mark Nash, and so I wanted to share with you that someone else shared with me a screenshot of something that you said publicly in the chat on Everything Boxing's channel. So I want to say this publicly to you, Mark Nash. I had no intentions of stealing your content or trying to use your content without including you in it. I did at you in the description. I just want to let you know that. And if you are offended by me not knowing how to put the youtube.com/ whatever. I apologize to you, Mark Nash, because I think that everybody should uh, get credit when they produce content. I would like to also say publicly that if you go back into the beginning of that video that I'm referring to on my channel, I actually said, shout out to Mark Nash. I said that verbatim to give him credit for the interview that he hosted. I made a reference to that inside the video. If you go back to the video I did previous to that one, I think that was the video that I published on Saturday evening regarding Oscar De La Hoya. I may have mentioned Fight Hype in that video because Fight Hype is the one that did that interview with Oscar De La Hoya. I'm using it as an example to say that I have no intentions of, stealing anyone's content or try to act like I'm the creator of that content. So I wanted to publicly say that again to Mark Nash, that if you took that the wrong way, brother, I apologize to you. Okay? I was not trying to steal your content or disrespect your platform, brother. And I'm moving on from that. Now let's get back into part two of this. Part one, as you all know, um, I'm not going to rehash everything I said in part one with Michael Williams Sr. I'll just say Mike Sr. And I'm only saying Mike because I spoke to him last night. Uh, I'm just saying Mike because I called him Mike publicly last night on Everything Boxing's channel. Him and I had a discussion. I asked him a few questions. He gave me some of the things that he wanted to say to me, and I respect his perspective and opinion that he shared with me about, what he thought about the video, excuse me, that I published on my channel regarding the situation between him and Roy Jones Jr. Um, I just want to talk about some business stuff, right? And when I say business stuff, I'm referring to the sport of boxing. Some of you might have been on that channel last night, Everything Boxing's channel, on his live. So you might know what I'm talking about when I say that I was on a panel and I spoke with Mike Sr. last night. There were some things that I asked Mike Sr., and I want to clarify it right now before we move on because I think it is highly important. And the reason why it's highly important because I want everybody to get back to the objective that I have here on YouTube. I'm gonna keep saying it. I said it last night, and I'm gonna say it again. I am not a YouTuber. Okay, I don't consider myself a YouTuber because I don't have enough experience yet when it comes down to all the stuff that the veterans know. When I talk to the community of boxing, everybody knows that I manage fighters. I'm a boxing manager. I don't have to reintroduce that to you all. But my perspective is to provide a business perspective of the sports of boxing. Salute to everybody in the chat again, okay? All of you that are just coming in, feel free to relax. We're going to talk some business tonight, and class will be in session. Now, this channel is about producing education and entertainment regarding the sport of boxing. Now, the reason why I said that is because I want you all to know that everything I do on this YouTube is from sincerity, and I'm being very genuine when I talk to you all. Now, shout out to Everything Boxing because he allowed me to join his panel on his channel. Salute to him. Now, I was on Everything Boxing's channel last night, and I asked Mike Williams Sr. a question. And I want to provide a business perspective to translate so that you all will understand how the business of boxing works. Now, Mike Williams Sr., and I'm not coming at him. This is not me throwing no shots at Mike Sr. I said what I said to him in my video. I said what I said when I seen him on live. And so I'm standing on everything I said, but at the same time, it's all good. I don't have a beef with Mike Sr. Just wanted to point that out. But I'm using the conversation that I had with him last night and the purpose of me putting the video out about him in this situation as a teachable moment. Okay? That was my objective. Now, Mike Williams Sr. said on Everything Boxing last night, and I want to make sure I don't misquote him. And if I am misquoting him, I apologize in advance for putting words in that man's mouth. See, I'm a man. I have no problem with apologizing when I'm wrong. Okay? I have no problem making it right with nobody if I'm wrong. But if I am right, I stand on what I say. Now, I thought I heard him say, and if I'm wrong, anybody in the chat that was there on Everything Boxing's channel, please correct me in the chat. Okay? And I will make sure I correct myself live. I thought I heard Mike Williams Sr. say, every time it was time for his son to fight, Roy Jones, the trainer, got paid first and always got paid, but his son, the fighter, didn't get paid sometimes. And I was actually confused by that. Understanding the nature of this business in the sport of boxing, that confused me. I didn't understand that. So I asked Mike Sr., what did he mean by that? Can he clarify that? Can he elaborate on how come, Roy Jones was always getting paid, as a trainer? In fact, getting paid first. And then his son, the fighter, wasn't getting paid. Okay? So the response that Mike Sr. gave me, and now I may not be able to quote this verbatim, but I'm going to be close enough. If you all can, before I continue, please hit the like button if you can. I'm hearing in the chat that the viewers and the like ratio is not congruent. You're going to learn some boxing this evening now. Okay? Now, if you don't want to hit the like button, I respect it anyway. It's all good. We are boxing family on this community, all right? And sometimes family don't agree all the time or even get along. Okay? But it's all about respect. Now moving on. Mike Williams Sr. made references to this when I asked him that question. That one of the reasons why Roy Jones was getting paid first and always, and I quote him saying that he was like Suge Knight. That Mike Sr. was, not Roy, but Mike Sr. was like Suge Knight. In other words, he's basically shaking down the promoters or shaking down the sponsors. And I'm using the word shaking down, uh, you know, uh, very loosely, but I think we all adults here. We understand what that means. Where he is basically using leverage, basically, so to speak, to convince the promoters and convince the sponsors to contribute money on behalf of his son, so that his son can compete in these fights, to build his record, to build his notoriety. And of course, because he has an attachment and or an association with Roy Jones, and Roy Jones, a celebrity, that can be used as leverage to succeed in that process. And he also said that the monies that were contributed by sponsors equaled a total of upward of about $100,000 out of 20 fights for his son. And he also said that there were times where his son was given, I believe he said between $500 and $800. I believe that's what he said. So I want to put that in proper perspective, to use that as a teachable moment to educate you all on this channel, because that's what my channel is about, providing a business perspective. excuse me, when a professional boxer is not particularly signed under a contractual obligation with a promoter, that fighter is considered a free agent, for lack of better professional terms. A free agent. Somebody in the chat asked me, CJ, does Mike Sr. also serve as his manager too? I don't want to assume, but based on what the information that he was providing to me, he gave me the perspective that he is also Mike Sr.'s manager. I cannot confirm or deny that. Okay, and I don't want to assume, but the way that he was talking to me, it gave me the perspective that he was his son's manager. Because he said that he was the Suge Knight, or he's like Suge Knight. And he is the one who is inquiring about contributions from sponsors and or promoters. That's one of the qualifications and responsibilities of a manager. So that's why it's safe for me to assume that he is acting as the manager and the trainer of his son, Mike Jr. Now, y'all got the free agent part, right? Okay, now, as a free agent, especially if you have a manager, y'all always hear me talk about representation in this business, right? Okay. If you have representation in this business as a professional boxer, excuse me, let's use a manager as the representation. You are a free agent and you have a manager who is, excuse me, you have a manager who is basically representing you on your behalf. It is the manager's responsibility to be able to secure fiduciary money, to be able to get the free agent boxer fights. Salute in the chat. Salute to y'all in the chat. Now, how does a manager get his or her fighter the opportunity to compete in the ring? Money. What do I mean by money? Very simply, the manager will communicate with promoters. You might, and Byron Bradley, I see you in the chat, and you might be right about that. Matter of fact, let me see if I can put that up there. You might be right about that. You just might be right about that. Now, I'll take this off. I didn't put him up there. There you go. Now, using my phone tonight, y'all. All right. Let's get to it now. The manager talks to promoters. Managers will basically communicate with promoters. It doesn't matter if they're small time promoters for local shows. It doesn't matter if they're the huge, large, you know, famous promoters in major shows. None of that matters. What matters is that the manager have a Rolodex, a contact list, to be able to pick up the phone or email a promoter or reach out to a promoter through social media, right? Now, the manager reaches out to the promoter on behalf of the fighter. Listen and listen to me good now. Class is in session. And the manager says, listen, I have a fighter here that I'm representing. How much is it going to cost me to get my fighter on your upcoming card? The promoter might say, it might cost you X amount of dollars, right? Now, the first amount of money it's going to cost that manager from the rip is a slot fee. You ain't gonna find this nowhere else. So I'm glad y'all here with me tonight. I got a headache, but we working tonight. We working. Cause there's a method to my madness on this. So stay with me now. Hit the like button, y'all. I'm waking up. I'm waking up. Hit the like button for me. Come on in. Welcome. Now, let's just hypothetically say, I'm just using this for the sake of illustration, y'all. For the scope of this illustration. Might not be concrete numbers. It varies. Now, promoter might say it's going to cost you $1,000 just as a slot fee to get on the cards. For your fighter to get on this card, it's going to cost you a minimum of $1,000. That's the slot fee, right? Okay. Promoter might say, you have to be responsible for your fighter that you represent. You have to be responsible for their purse. In other words, you're the manager, you got to pay their purse. Not the promoter, because you're not obligated to me as a promoter, right? You're just trying to get your fighter a win. Now, he says, the promoter says, you gotta pay a slot fee. Then you got to pay the purse of your fighter. Then you got to pay for the airfare and hotel room for your fighter, their trainer, and if they have a cut man or cut woman as well. And of course, there's an opponent. Now, how does the opponent get paid? So the manager recognized that, hold on for a minute. I got to do all these expenses for my fighter that I represent and the medicals if they need to be medically cleared. Excuse me. They make the manager pay for the medicals as well. Now, to the opponent. The promoter says, okay, you know you're going to need an opponent. Now you can do one or two things. Either one or A, you can find your own opponent. Or B, as a promoter of this event, I'll find you an opponent. The only difference is that there's a fee involved if I find you an opponent. Manager may have to pay for that. Now, let's say the manager say, well, you know what? I'll find an opponent on my own. Or I'll make a few phone calls to different matchmakers for them to help me find different opponents. Or I'll go on BoxRec in the division that my fighter is competing in, and then I'll do my research and investigation and reach out to those fighters that basically can meet the criteria to fight my fighter on this particular date. Guess what the manager is presumed to have to do in that scenario? The same thing he or she did with their fighter. Pay the opponent's purse, right? Because remember, the opponent is not signed to the promoter that's hosting the event either, right? Pay for the opponent's purse. Pay for the opponent's airfare. Now, this is round trip now. It's not one way, round trip. Pay for a trainer's airfare. That opponent want to bring his or her cut man or cut woman. Pay for that as well. If they need medicals, pay for the medicals as well. Y'all see where I'm going with this, right? Okay. Now, pay for the hotel rooms, just like the manager did for his or her fighter, right? You got to pay for the hotel room for the fighter and the fighter, meaning the opponent, and their trainer, and if they have a cut man or cut woman that they want to bring with them as well. Some people, they defray the cost by having double rooms. You know what I'm saying? So the trainer and the fighter can, stay in the same room if they are the same gender and everything like that. That's one of the ways you can defray the cost. So just imagine All of these expenses are provided to the manager. So when you hear someone like Mike Sr. say that he got sponsorship money to make sure that his son got on certain cards, that's what he's talking about. I wanted to make sure I translate that so that we all can be on the same page and have an understanding of this business. When someone is a free agent, when I say someone, I mean a professional boxing athlete, especially when they're up and coming in the ranks. Because somebody may have missed what Mike Sr. was saying, so I'm translating that so we all can be on the same page of why I asked him that question. Now, when I asked Mike Sr. about that process, Mike Sr. told me his son's reward was a win. What does he mean by that? Let's keep it very simple. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Rule to Take film crew, what he means by that is the opponent is going to be an opponent or opposition that's basically not expected to win because that opponent is not in a position to be on the same skill level of that fighter. That's the A side in that fight. Meaning that that opponent, most of the time, they're coming to survive. And no disrespect to no fighter, but we got to call a spade and deal with what's real. Most of the fighters know that they are already opponents. They already know that. They've already accepted the truth that they will not become world champions. Their resume and record speaks to what I'm saying. This is not a knock on fighters. I'm telling you the thought process of how fighters become opponents. And at some point, they probably were prospects at first, some of them no. But it becomes a business for the opponent because an opponent, barring that they don't get knocked out, barring that the commission don't suspend them, they can fight once every 3 weeks, once every month, once every 2 months, once every 3 months. And it becomes a business for opponents. You understand what I'm saying, y'all? So what Mike Sr. was saying, that his son was always the A side in 99.9% of the fights that he fought because they paid for those type of opponents who don't have the skill level or who's not on the same level as, let's say, a Mike Jr., who has come to fight but only to survive because it's just another payday for the opponent. Some people may call them tomato cans, Uber, Lyft drivers, little school bus drivers. These are terms that are privately identifiable to opponents. Okay? Now, with that being said, that does not nullify the fact that just because a fighter is a prospect does not necessarily mean that they're going to get paid more than the opponent. I told y'all class is in session this evening. What Manager Marty is saying this evening, 99.9% of the time, especially if the A side is not signed to a promoter and they're a free agent, the opponent will make more money than the A side. The B side will make more money than the A side. The opponent will make more money than the prospect. The red corner will make more than the blue corner. Remember I told y'all, what was that, week and a half ago? I told y'all when there's a boxing event, there's no such thing as A side, B side. That's not how the fighters are identified. Remember I told y'all that? They're identified by red corner, blue corner. Remember I taught y'all that? And remember I taught y'all how to identify who's the A side and B side in your mind, or who's the red corner and blue corner. Remember I taught y'all that? Well, I'm going to bring it right back and remix it. When you look at a fighter at an event, hear me and hear me good. Look at the wrists. Oh, look at the wrists. Look at the wrists of the boxing gloves. Most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, right? The inspectors who represent the commission of that state, they will, after the gloves come on and the gloves are tied up, they will administer red tape and they will administer blue tape and wrap it around the glove wrist of the fighters to identify them as blue corner and red corner. And when they enter the ring, the fighters, they will stand in their respective corners, right? So if you have blue tape on your wrist as a fighter, you will be in the blue corner. If you have a red tape on your gloves, you will be in the red corner. Okay? That's important. And I'm going to tell you why that is important. Because I asked Mike Sr. a question last night. I asked him another question. Because Mike Sr. said that Mike Jr. has always been the A side in his fights. And I respect that. Because monies had to be given to make sure that Mike Jr. goes in the ranking system. I respect that. Now, when he said that, I asked him a question. I'm just giving y'all a recap real quick, and I'm translating why I'm asking these questions to Mike Sr. I said, Mike Sr., Mike, since you said your son was the A side in all of his fights, was he the A side when he fought the bull Bowser? That's the Puerto Rican guy that fought on that top rank card with Mike Jr. Y'all remember that, right? Bowser? Y'all remember that? That was the fight where Mike Jr. unfortunately got knocked down 5 times in that fight. Right? I'm just giving y'all, I'm not talking bad about Mike Jr. I'm just saying that's the fight, if y'all want to know which fight I'm talking about. And I said, was he the A side in that fight? Mike Sr. told me with a straight face, yes. He told me that. He said, yes. The promoters paid us so that we can beat Bowser. We were the A side. That's what he told me. Well, if you go back and look at the highlights on that fight, you will see that Mike Jr. wasn't wearing blue tape on his wrist. He was wearing red tape on his wrist, and Bowser was wearing blue tape on his wrist. You have to take my word for it. You can go on BoxRec and pull up the fight. And you'll see on the left-hand side of the column, they were all the fighters that were on the A side of that card, or in the blue corner. You go to the right-hand side of that, you'll see the B side, or the red corner. I'm just translating why I asked certain questions to Mike Sr. last night from a business perspective. Because I'm using these things that happen in the sport of boxing as teachable moments to educate the fans, to educate the subscribers, to educate the viewers, not to expose people. That is not, I'm not on YouTube for that, but to provide a business perspective to educate you so that when you watch boxing, you understand exactly what's going on. When you hear something that doesn't make sense, you know as a subscriber and viewer what's going on. And I told you all before, when you hear truth, even if you don't agree with it, it's something in us that God put in us called discernment. It's your opportunity and job as a human being to cultivate that discernment. But he does that so when we hear truth, we can accept it. We might not accept it right away, but we accept it and we live on with truth. And when you hear a lie, it might sound like the truth until you think about it later on, and then the truth will eventually be revealed. Now, what is this all about? What is all of this about? It's about living in truth. That's what this is about. And so when you understand what happens at these boxing events, then you'll know that I'm right about what I'm saying. Now, let's go back to red and blue corner. I want to make sure that we are on the same page now. If you go to a local show, I'm just going to use local for the scope of my illustration. If you go to a local show and there's only 2 dressing rooms for the fighters, hear me and hear me good. All of the fighters that are going to be representing the blue corner will be in that same dressing room or nearby for the blue corner. And all the fighters that's representing the red corner will be in that one dressing room, or they'll probably be split up if there's multiple dressing rooms. So in other words, is everybody coming out of the blue corner will be on this side. Everybody coming out of the red corner will be on this side. And you have an inspector who facilitates when these fighters walk out from the dressing room to the ring. Just want to make sure I give clarity on this, because I was asking questions on someone else's platform and the reception wasn't met very well because it wasn't my platform. And I respect that. And in fact, it wasn't probably even the topic to talk about business. So I respect that too. It wasn't you know what I'm saying? They was talking about a situation. Had nothing to do with, like, business. So I can understand if I came on there and my mind was just focused on business based on what Mike Sr. said about how Roy Jones was getting paid first and always, and then his son not getting paid, or his son only receiving $500 to $800. Now let's go on to that. Most fighters, listen to this, y'all. This is one of the reasons why I got into the business as a manager. Listen carefully. Most fighters, particularly the fighters, I'm being delicate here, particularly the fighters that sign to some promotion companies, or promotional companies rather. If they're fighting 4 rounds, 1 round, 2 round, damn, I got the camera right here. 1 round, 2 round, 3 round, 4 rounds. 4 rounds, right? They're fighting 4 rounds. They're grateful if they only make $800. I'm not telling you nobody business. I want to put this in power perspective. They're grateful. Those fighters are grateful if they're making $200 per round. Why am I saying that? Because that was an example that I gave on Everything Boxing Channel just last night to illustrate my point to Mike Sr. And now I'm translating and clarifying it with you all. Okay? Now, if a fighter that's competing for 4 rounds with the contractual obligation to a promoter making $800 for 4 rounds, which is equivalent to $200 per round, how is it possible that a fighter of Mike Jr.'s magnitude, and I'm talking about his record now, and I'm talking about how many rounds he's fighting, how is he able to get paid the same amount of a 4-round fighter when he's competing in 6 and 8 round fights, and he has no contractual obligation to a promoter? Now let me give you perspective on me now. And you can go and ask any fighter that I represented, whether I advised them or whether they were under contract with me. This is facts, and it can be verified. Every fighter that I advised and signed with me under my tutelage, and I'm managing them, ask them, did they ever receive $800 to fight for 4 rounds? Ask them, did they ever receive $1,000 to fight in 6 rounds? That's why I always say that adequate and good representation in this business is priceless. Every fighter that I managed or still manage or advise that's a 4-round fighter, Man, they get at least between 1,000 and 1,300 when I negotiate for them. That's facts. And I'm talking about the ones that's not signed to a promoter. In other words, is the fighter's supposed to make more money as a free agent than they would if they're getting a guarantee, y'all favorite word, some of y'all, guarantee from being signed to a promoter. See, we talking the business of boxing here. We're not talking about the trainer. We're not talking about the fighter. We talking about management. We talking about promotion. That's what we're talking about. Because it starts and ends with the manager. The fighter has to get paid first because the fighter is supposed to pay the trainer. The fighter has to get paid first because the fighter has to pay the cut man or cut woman. The fighter has to get paid first because the fighter has to pay their taxes. The fighter has to get paid first because the fighter has to pay the second assist or assistant trainer. The fighter has to get paid first because a portion of their purse goes to the manager. So the question still remained, how come the trainer, Roy Jones, getting paid first and the fighter, Mike Jr., ain't getting paid nothing? Or getting paid 500 to 800? That's why I was asking them questions, because Mike Sr. opened the floodgates for me to ask that. I'm not here to expose Mike Sr. I'm not here to do none of that. I'm here to tell y'all the business of boxing like I've been doing. I'm just using this real life situation as a teachable moment. Now, you probably never heard half of what I just told y'all in this last 40 minutes on YouTube. And I'm okay with that. You know why? Because that's why Manager Marty's here. To provide education and entertainment. But you know, there's people that may not agree with me, and I am okay with that. My job is to make sure I protect the interests of all fighters. You know, fighters be calling me, right? Some of the fighters don't even know my phone number. They be hitting me up on social media, or they'll email me. Why you think my email is in my description on this channel here? They reach out to me. Manager Marty, what you think about this? How should I handle this? And I advise them. Ain't nothing free in life. There are fighters that wasn't signed to me, called me to get advice, and I helped them out of bad contracts. That's facts. All this can be verified. It's facts. I'm not putting nobody's name out there. I'm just talking to my people here, my subscribers, my viewers, all of you that's going to watch the replay of this live. I welcome you. If you were sent to watch this live because somebody else sent you to be a guard dog and a watchdog for Manager Marty, I welcome you too. If you're a hater, I welcome you. If you don't like me, I welcome you. But those of you that support me, I salute you. I welcome you. Now let's get back to some more business. So now that we have that established, no fighter should enter the ring and not get paid. No fighter should enter the boxing ring and get underpaid. I don't care who your dad is. I don't care who your mom is. I don't care who your manager is. I don't care who your promoter is. Nobody want to work for free. Bottom line. And nobody should work for free. And so my job here is to educate you all and make sure that we all on the same page. So when you hear something that don't sound too right or just need to be verified, you'll know what's true and what is not. And you'll know how to decipher what's right and what's wrong. And so when I keep hearing people say, Oh, it's the politics of boxing. The people that's saying that, most of them that be saying that, ain't make a transaction in this business yet. But be the first one to talk about, man, this ain't happening because of politics. I'm not talking about nobody in particular. I'm talking about a lot of people that be saying that. Oh man, it's the politics of boxing. That's why this be happening. That's why that be happening. No, it ain't. How about it's the people of boxing? When we gonna start holding people accountable? It's not the politics of boxing. Do the politics in boxing play a role in certain instances? Absolutely. I'd be a fool and a liar to say it don't. But what about the people though? There's a lot of good people in this business on a local level and on a big time level. A lot of good people in this business, y'all. There's a lot of good, reputable managers and promoters. Everybody not out to stick the fighters now. But it is the standard of these contracts. It is the nature of the business. And so what happens is when you have a fighter who's only used to fighting lower level competition, they don't get the on the job training necessary. And when they get into the ring prematurely to get a bag, they get embarrassed and humiliated in that ring because they have not been able to cultivate their skills on the job, especially if they don't have a decorated amateur background. This is why good representation is important. I dare anybody to challenge me on what I just said. I'm gonna drop the link in a minute. I know somebody want to join. I'm okay with that. We talking about the business of boxing now. Let's get back to what we do on this channel. And so sometimes, like Oscar De La Hoya agreed with me, what I posted on Saturday night, it is a good thing to be signed to a promoter. Because remember those expenses I was talking about that the manager will have to pay for? Remember I just told y'all that? Hmm. Guess whose responsibility it is to pay for airfare, hotel stays, medicals? You've guessed it, the promoters. So sometimes it is highly beneficial for fighters to get signed to a good promoter. Now, what the good promoter will do is they will invest their monies, their resources, whether it be sponsorship money or their own. Excuse me. Most of the time, it's a combination of sponsorship money and their own money, or the TV networks money who pay for the licensing fees, right? But the point that I'm making is the promoters are obligated to pay for those expenses, right? When they have a fighter contractually agreeing to their terms. And in exchange for that, the promoter, in turn, with the help of a good matchmaker, will be able to move that fighter strategically in the rankings because the entire goal is to bring this particular fighter, male and female, to world championship contention. Want to know why that's important? Because once the fighter is in contention and then able to compete for a championship title, especially if they win, the manager and or promoter is able to recoup their investments that they've made throughout the journey of this fighter. So you know how much money managers lose? Sometimes it only takes one world champion now. It only takes one. But you know how many fighters you got to manage just to get the one sometimes? You know how many fighters you have to promote just to get the one sometimes? And so that's why good representation in this business is priceless. I just wanted to point that out because I know that that dialogue I had with Mike Sr. last night went over some people's head. But now I just broke it all down for you of why manager Marty. I didn't say nothing about Roy Jones in particular, because that ain't my speed. I'm proving a point of what's going on and how people use social media to swindle the people. I ain't just talking about Mike Senior, and I'm talking about whoever, content creator or you in the business, whoever. If the shoe fit, stop wearing it. Take it off and find a bigger size. Because now it's time to educate the people with the truth. Let me say that again because I know somebody's going to run with that. And I love when they run with it. If the shoe fits, take it off and go find a bigger size to grow in. So the point that I'm making is this. We have to have an understanding of business. Every fighter should get paid when they perform and render their service. Period. And no fighter should be underpaid for their services. And so I said all that to say, even though I don't know Mike Sr. or Mike Jr., but because I have a heart for this business and for fighters in general, that triggered me. That triggered me when I heard Mike Sr. say on Everything Boxing's channel before I got the link to come on. That triggered me when I heard him say that Roy Jones, the trainer, he keep getting paid all the time. And he get paid first. But then Mike Jr. don't get paid. His reward is just a win. Or he's getting paid 500 to 800. And he's not a 4-round fighter no more. I'm going to keep it all the way 100. That triggered me. And that's why I asked for the link for Everything Boxing. Because I wanted to ask Mike Williams to clarify that. Mike Williams Sr. Now, let's get to part 2 now that I clarified that. Before I get to part 2, though, oh, man, guess what, y'all? I messed up something. The link. I'm going to do that. I got to figure out a way. Don't worry about it. I'm going to get it done. Hold on, y'all. Let me see if I can do this because I want to put the link in there. Somebody might want to ask me a question or something. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, y'all. We're going to get it done. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to drop the link, but I'm going to get the part 2, but I want to drop the link. I want to drop the link first, though. Okay? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I gotta get it so I could write it down and put it in the joint. So give me 1 minute, all right? But I want to do something real quick while I'm getting the link. Can y'all tell me in the chat if you learned something this evening so far? Did you learn something this evening? Is there something that you heard me say that you did not know before? If it is a yes, write it in the chat. If you're watching the replay of this live, comment in the comment section below. I'm interested in hearing feedback. Tell me if you learned something that you didn't know tonight about the business of boxing. Okay? Well, I'm going to get this link for y'all. So I'm going to turn my camera off and try to get it. So come on, talk to me in the chat. I can still see y'all in the chat. Talk to me now. Give me some feedback. Still there? Come on, talk to me in the chat. Did you learn anything about the business of boxing this evening so far? Come on, talk to me now. I'm about to drop the link. I'm about to drop the link real quick. It's only like what, one, two, three, only five people? Only five people learned something tonight? I encourage you all, hit the like button if you can, man. Hit the like button if you can, sweetheart. Come on in. Come on in. I ain't gonna hold y'all long tonight. I know it's Tuesday night. This is my first live on Tuesdays. We're gonna come back here again next Tuesday, but we gotta do another live on Friday. Okay, but right now I only see one, two, I only see about 5 or 6 yeses. If you didn't learn anything tonight, that's okay. Say no. Give me some feedback. I'm trying to drop this link real quick. Come on in the chat. Salute to everybody in the chat, okay? Salute to everybody that's viewing this. We're gonna talk business of boxing this evening. You might not find this nowhere else. Salute to all other boxing channels, but you might not find this nowhere else, this information. That's not a shot at nobody. I'm just saying what my channel is about. What we do and we learn when we get together as family on this channel, all right? All right, the link is in the chat now. Link is in the chat now, okay? Yeah. Link in the chat. I'm trying to see how to get it on my screen again, like I usually do. That's cool. Link in the chat, though. All right. Let me see if I can do it this way then. And if nobody don't want to come on, that's okay. That's all good. I'm just putting it out there. You know how we do. Y'all know how we do when we come on. Yeah. And just because you don't say nothing in the chat doesn't mean that I don't think you're paying attention to me or nothing. I don't take that no type of way. I know some people just want to play the background. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. All right, there we go right there. That's the best I can do so far. That's the best I can do so far. Got that right in there real quick. All right, here we go. So it's in the chat and it's on the screen. Let's move on now. Part 2. I'm gonna be on this real quick, and then we're gonna jump back into some more boxing. Now, I gave my word that I would provide a part 2 of the last video I did that I published on Sunday evening about this whole fiasco between Mike Sr. and Roy Jones. And I was actually basing my part 2 on whether or not Roy Jones responded, or else I would have dropped something yesterday. And just so happened that Roy Jones did respond. And there were several channels that made references to Roy Jones responding. Everything Boxing channel, I saw his video that I believe he posted yesterday. He made a few references of what Roy Jones said, and he gave credit to World Combat Sports. So I think World Combat Sports is the one who interviewed Roy Jones. I had no knowledge of that, but I have knowledge of that today. So shout out to those guys. Who else did? Fanon made a reference, I think earlier today. Yes, it was today. He made a reference about Roy Jones responding. So there's multiple outlets that have mentioned Roy, mentioned some of the things that Roy Jones himself said in his own defense. And I think everybody is clear now on what Roy Jones said, so I don't have to rehearse it or rehash it. But what it sounds like to me, since this is my opportunity to do a part two, is that Roy Jones was trying to protect the fighter. Um, I know people have been criticizing Roy Jones, including Mike Sr., about the um, the closeness in sparring, or the lack of having adequate time in between of sparring. I am not a professional trainer, so I can't render what's right and what's wrong from a trainer's perspective. I've talked to several professional boxing trainers in the last 48 hours, and I've gotten different perspectives from different professional boxing trainers with regards to Roy Jones only having 2.5 weeks, or maybe 3 weeks at the most, but 2.5 weeks to train with um, Mike Jr. And so, because he didn't have adequate time with Mike Jr., this is why he was trying to expedite some sparring. And he believed, based on his evaluation, that Mike Jr. was not looking too well on defense, meaning he was taking, too many unnecessary punches in sparring. I've gotten another perspective from another professional boxing trainer that says that he would have, as a trainer, maybe spaced it out, spaced the days out. Like if they sparred on one day for, like, let's say 10 rounds, then the day after that, not not the next day they would have sparred, but the day after the next day. So basically every other day he would have had a sparring. Let's use Monday as a reference. Monday, and then Wednesday do some light sparring. And in between the sparring days, working on like technique, different defensive drills, stuff like that. So I have a handful of boxing trainers tell me the first perspective, and then I had another handful of boxing trainers tell me the second perspective. I'm not an expert, so I can't say how Roy Jones should have done it or not, because most trainers will say within a 10-day window, a couple of days of sparring is legitimate. So I can't speak to that. I'm not a professional boxing trainer, nor am I amateur boxing trainer or a boxing coach. We call them coaches in the amateurs. So I can't render a verdict on the days. I can't. Most people that do that, that's their perspective. But I'm not a boxing trainer, so I can't speak to that. But I will tell you that I do not believe it was a conspiracy for Roy Jones to intentionally get Mike Jr.'s jaw fractured. I don't believe that. It's just my opinion. I don't believe that. And I'm not saying that Roy Jones was right about everything he said or did. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying I don't agree that he set this whole thing up for this kid to, you know, um, get beat up on or get his jaw fractured. I don't believe that. Not one bit. I would also say that Roy Jones probably could have handled the part where he told the young man, Mike Jr., maybe you should pull out of the fight, if he really said that, because yes, true, he definitely um he definitely saw a lot of things that he didn't like in those sparring sessions. Ain't no question about that. And so shout out to Omega Red. I see your comment. Matter of fact, I'm gonna post it up here because I think it is very simple. Omega Red said, I just wish people would use common sense sometimes and get out their emotions. Totally agree. Omega Red. Thank you for your contribution and your feedback. I agree. You know what I mean? I totally agree. And so maybe Roy, you know, should have maybe called Mike Senior first before he went to the young boy, the young lad of Mike Jr., the young fighter. You know what I mean? Go to the dad and say, look, I think, I'm gonna let him spar one more time tomorrow. Like in other words, is communicate that to the father. You know what I mean? And then say, look, if your son don't show me nothing tomorrow at 1 o'clock, either I'm gonna back out of this thing here, or I'm gonna still work with him. But I think y'all should pull out the fight. Like I told y'all at 140 when you fought Bowser, I told y'all not to fight him, and you see what happened. And now I'm telling y'all not to fight AB because those same things are happening in training camp. If Roy Jones felt that way, maybe he should have communicated that with Mike Senior. I'm talking about before he asked Mike Jr. to spar. Now, there's a different perspective on that. And so the bottom line is, as men, though, let's be clear on this. As men, though, there's a certain etiquette that we must present to the public. That's facts. Now, I'm just going to keep it 100. There's a certain etiquette as men because we have younger men watching us. We have fighters watching us older guys. I ain't that old, but I'm old head officially. My point is, though, we have women watching us, women and children watching us as men. And we got to conduct ourselves with a certain amount of etiquette. And being emotional is not the way sometimes. Let me reframe that. Controlling our emotions as men is the way. We're all human and we all feel stuff. But as men, we have to learn. Some of us that don't know, some men don't know, have to control and contain our emotions. Sometimes, even if you feel like going on social media and airing out those emotions, sometimes it's better to be slow to speak, quick to hear, and slow to get angry. That's a principle. And so the first thing some people want to do is run straight on social media. Well, hold on for a minute. It might not warrant running on social media. It may not even warrant that. And so when we go public with something, we have to open ourselves up to criticism. Every time I open this phone and do a live with y'all, every time I publish a piece of content publicly, I'm opening myself up for criticism. Everybody in my comment sections are not favorable to things that I say. I got to take the good with the good when it come and the bad with the bad when it come. I got to take the critique and criticism when it come, just like I take the praise and acknowledgement when it comes. All of that come with it. And if you're not able to handle that as a man, and this is to any man that's listening, whether you're a content creator, whether you're a viewer, whether you're a subscriber, it don't matter who, whether you're a fighter, whether you're a promoter, whoever. I'm talking to men right now. You can't control your emotions. Don't go on social media. Very simple. Let's keep this simple, like Omega Red said. That's what's triggered me to speak on that. Because that's a major part of this whole controversy right now. Sometimes it's best to just fall back. Everybody can't handle certain type of information. So we have to use our wisdom before we start using this. People running on Twitter talking about content creators. Bud Crawford. For what? Why are we all in our emotions, y'all? We men. We gotta contain all that. I'm just keeping it all the way 100. I ain't even talking about that situation because that ain't had nothing to do with the business perspective of what I provide, nor does it have nothing to do with me. But I'm just using it as a reference to with these phones and these computers and the technology. We can't keep getting emotional. Now that segues me into this. Most of you heard it, and I'm going to address it because it happened on Everything Boxing, and I'm on my platform and I'm going to address it because it's relevant to what I'm talking about. Me in World Combat Sports. We were going back and forth. I don't have a beef with World Combat Sports. I don't have a problem with World Combat Sports. I actually saluted World Combat Sports. I may have mispronounced the name because I thought Monty Brown told me his name was something else. The acronym for his title, the letters, the acronym of the letters in his logo. I didn't properly see it. And the host, Everything Boxing, didn't have the names of all of the panelists. Some people do have the names. You know what I mean? Some people don't. Like me, sometimes I don't know how to put the names up for the guests that come on. And so I didn't see. And so I saluted all the people that was on that panel last night. And World Combat Sports, he laughed when I said, I don't know, because I saw the logo in the corner. Couldn't see what it said. I didn't have my glasses on either, but I was squinting. I was like, that's somebody on the panel. So I want to salute you. I'm recognizing everybody on the panel. And World Combat Sports started laughing. And I specifically said, "Are you laughing at me, brother? I hope you didn't take that the wrong way, like I'm trying, play you or something, brother. I don't recognize you. This is the first time I ever seen your logo anywhere. So I'm just trying to acknowledge you." He told me he was laughing at something in the chat. I said, okay. But when I start pressing Mike Senior on some questions, all of a sudden that turned into World Combat Sports like coming at me. You know, I guess he took that personal. He's saying I don't know because I said I didn't know who he was. The moral of the story of what I'm saying is that, like I told him, you misinterpreted that. You kind of was in your feelings a little bit because you thought I was trying to play you, but you misinterpreted that, brother. That's not in my character. And he actually did the right thing as a man, and I respect World Combat Sports. He said, if I took that the wrong way, I apologize. And I respected him for that. And I forgave the brother, and we move on. And hopefully, if he took that the wrong way, hopefully he forgive me, and we move on as men. We don't have to use social media to go back and forth with each other. You understand what I'm saying? It's not important. I wasn't going to let nobody disrespect me on social media or throw no shots at me when I'm in their face, like on the live. Now, I could have just be quiet and let him say all that, but no, hold on for a minute. I can see if I really did that and you holding me accountable, I respect that. But if you're wrong, you're taking it the wrong way, brother. That ain't right that I got to sit here and I got to wear that coat. No. So I got to clarify certain things. You know what I mean? So, I just wanted to say that because it happened live on someone else's channel. So I'm rendering my perspective and verdict on mine. There's no problem with World Combat Sports. You know what I mean? He took what I said the wrong way. I acknowledged the brother. He apologized. We move on. I have no problem with Mike Williams Sr. Like he told me last night, the way I would handle my business as a manager and the way he do things as a manager, we're two different people. I respect that perspective. But I'm going to use this situation as a teachable moment to educate and empower all of the viewers. Because at the end of the workday, all of us have one thing in common, whether we agree or disagree. We all have one thing in common on YouTube. We all love boxing. It doesn't matter how much or how little, we all love boxing. Content creators included. We all love boxing. We don't always have to agree on everything, but we do have to respect each other. I'm not here preaching, y'all, because I know people, joke with me and say preach and all that. But I'm just saying, like, nobody else is talking about this. So I'm using the opportunity to talk about it on my platform. As men, we got to stop being too emotional on this YouTube stuff. For real. Save it for the women. The women don't even be emotional on this. But I be in my chat. I be looking at women in the chat on my channel when I'm on other people's platform, and I can see when I'm in the chat, the women be more respectful. Come on, y'all. As men, come on, straight up. So I respect everybody viewing this, and I hope everybody learns something this evening. At least one thing. I told you I'm only satisfied if at least one person learns something about the business of boxing that you didn't know before you encountered me. I'm satisfied. I'm not here for no money. I'm not here for no fame, none of that. I'm investing my time because I love the sport of boxing, and I have a great deep attrition for fighters and respect for fighters, and I love the way that we all can get along because we all love boxing. But I do have an issue with those that manipulate people, bring lies up, use their opportunity and platform to mislead the people. I don't like that. I got issue with that. I don't take it personal, but at the same time, it gives me I can use it as a teachable moment as well to be able to teach all of you. I just gave y'all information that people are gonna be a little upset with me when this live go off. I'm talking about people in the business. You gotta remember, I still gotta conduct business with some people. I still got to after this live go off, you know, I gotta still pick up the phone and conduct business with certain people in this business. But you know what? As long as I can maintain my integrity, I'm all right with that. Whether they want to do business with me or not. And you can ask anybody that ever did business with me, whether it be a fighter, whether it be a promoter, whether it be me talking to a network, whoever know me in this business, they will tell you I got one good line, and that is this: my only concern is that we do good business. I always say that. We got to do good business. And so I'm excited that you all joined me this evening. So that was part one you heard me talk about on Sunday night. And now that was part two that you heard me speak on. And now let's get into some boxing. Now I want to interact with y'all now. Anybody ask me some questions real quick. I feel like just interacting with y'all. I had a headache. I still got a little fever. I'm still headache, man. I think because when I don't wear my glasses all day, I don't be liking wearing glasses. But if I don't wear them, I be squinting a lot, and it gives me these freaking headaches. That's why I put my glasses back on. Somebody asked me a question about boxing. What y'all think about What y'all think about why somebody's gonna ask me something? The link right there too. If somebody want to join for a few minutes, link right there, link right on the screen. Might be still in the chat too. What y'all think about Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis? Oscar De La Hoya said over the weekend the deal is finalized. He said the deal is finalized, but we were still waiting for an announcement. What y'all think about that fight? Meaning, when I'm asking you all when I say what you think about it, I mean who y'all think will win that fight? Who y'all think will win that fight? Who y'all think will win the fight between Devin Haney and Lomachenko? Who y'all think will win the fight between um, Caleb Plant and Benavidez? Who y'all think gonna win those fights? Let's talk about it real quick. I see some of you still watching. I appreciate you still being here with me. Oh, my guys is in the chat. I got to acknowledge them. Shout out and salute to AM Sports Media. I salute you brothers in the chat. Go subscribe to their channels, guys. They're doing a wonderful job with their content, and their channel is constantly growing. So if you haven't with media, please go subscribe to them. Somebody want to come on. Somebody's asking to come on. I'm gonna need you, whoever you are. I'm gonna need you to show your face. All right, show your face in the place before I let you on, just to make sure that this is not a trolling situation. If you can. All right, my guy. All right, hold on. I'm about to bring T Word up here. Hold on, T Word. I'm gonna bring you in. A Zacchaeus, a Zach, I see your question. Do you think Oscar is clout chasing? In the beginning, yeah, I thought he was clout chasing because he kept using social media instead of negotiating in the back. Oh, let me bring T Word up here.
Hey,
Yo,
good evening to you.
yo, good evening, T Word. What's up with you, brother?
Hey, man, I just wanted to check in with you. I joined your live late. I've seen you all around the YTBC. You was just on my bros, the AM Sports Media's show not long ago. So appreciate you, tapping in with my boys too. And I wanted to jump on, chop it up with you, and ask a question. I don't know if you've addressed this already, but I was listening to you on Keon's show yesterday, talking to Mike Senior, and it sounds like there's some issues as far as the business goes where they were kind of pushing the young man into this fight for financial gain. And I just want your opinion on when you see this type of thing in the boxing business, do you have concerns when you see maybe fathers who might be good at running their personal business, but their emotions get involved when they run a business for their sons? And just give your opinion on that.
That's a good question. Before I give my response, there's somebody in the chat. I have to acknowledge him, and then I promise you I'll give you an answer. My guy, Monty Brown TV, is in the chat. Salute to you, sir. If you haven't done so, he has great content as well. Please go over to Monty Brown TV as soon as you get off this live, and please go subscribe to his channel. He has some great content. Those are my guys, man. So let me answer your question here. Sometimes, right? Um, Sometimes it can be a difficult thing. And in fact, I think I made a reference to this to Mike Sr. Last night. It can be so difficult when fighters have their fathers as managers and or trainers. It's a very delicate and sensitive dynamic, right? And it can hurt the business, but not all the time. Sometimes it's necessary for the fighter to have a father who's a little bit emotional to a point where the father still know how to get the business done, but still hold the promoter accountable or the network accountable or other managers accountable or other fighters accountable so that his son can be in the best position to be successful in this business. All right, I'll give you an example. Now, he didn't have a
Okay.
son in the business that I know of, but like Rock Newman, right? I don't know if you know who he is or heard of him. Rock Newman was the manager of Riddick Bowe. And they used to call Rock Newman like the pit bull of boxing because he would get emotional sometimes, but he knew how to get the business done. So sometimes you need somebody like that as your dad, where they got that little fire up under them, and people will listen to him, and people will say he know what he's talking about. All right, we're gonna do business with him. Devin Haney's dad. He may not be as emotional, but he be having that fire up under him too, where he can turn up a little bit. You know what I mean? Kenny Porter, right? He can turn up a little. So it's okay when you have a father and son dynamic where the father might be a little emotional or might can turn up a little bit, but the point is that father is getting the job done on behalf of his son. It's different when a father is on, let's say I'm using as an example, where the father is on social media and going from platform to platform and platform to platform to platform to get something off of his chest, but it's still business that got to be done. That's when it's getting a little bit too emotional and it's taken away from having that fire up under you to conduct business so that it won't distract the father from basically putting his son in the right position. So I think
Right.
in the case of Mike Jr., Mike Sr., of course he was pushing his son out there to fight for the money. Is no different than no manager. Every manager would do that. I'm not just going to say Mike Senior was wrong for that, for wanting his son, to be in the best position to get the bag.
Yeah.
The problem with that though is that when you push your son out there, you got to baby step him into bigger fights because he hasn't had enough on the job training because he's already been in the ring with a lot of I don't want to say um Uber drivers or Lyft drivers
Subpar.
huh.
Subpar competition.
Yeah, there you go. Because I don't want to disrespect the fighters. Subpar competition. So when it's time for the fighter to get in there with somebody who has like skills, it's going to be hard for him, the fighter, to make certain adjustments in the ring because he never had to
Right.
be faced with that type of opposition. And so you got to baby step him. But in the case of Mike Jr. now going to go through 8B, that was a good look. Even though he's not on the same skill set as AB, but we still in the business to make money. So that was a good look. The only problem is I think it was the timing. The timing wasn't right. The timing wasn't right because let's be clear, Mike Jr. didn't fight. The last time he fought was what? Last year? Last August, right?
Yeah,
Excuse me, lost last
yeah.
April, right?
Last year, I can't remember the month.
Huh?
I can't remember the month, but it was last year. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was April. So my thing is from a manager's perspective, I would have made sure that he got a little fight in between that just to keep him active and learning on the job. So that let's say a Adrian Broner situation do call, my son ready. Or if I'm
yeah,
managing, my fighter is ready. But if I put him in there after being off for a year, even though the bag might be all right with AB, he hasn't been active. It's a possibility he can get hurt. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah. That definitely was my concern.
did I answer your question? Because sometimes I'll be
Yeah,
using
you
examples.
was there. I got a follow up to it based on some of what you're saying. So it sounds like you separated two things. So maybe you could cook on this particular point. So you talked about somebody having fire and passion, which it doesn't have to be your relative, your dad, your uncle, your grandpa managing you. There's fire and passion that can go in the room and beat the table and make sure you make it on the fight cards. You get the right money. You got enough time to train, whatever. But then when I look at a father or a relative sometimes, I think that that personal emotion can put certain familial things in front of good business and common sense. And that's where you have a father who says, well, we knew the jaw was broke, but we was going to let him go in there anyway. But the mom talked him out of it. That right there is a concern for me. And I think that you might see it in other places in boxing, but this one is on the forefront right now. So maybe you could give me your thoughts on that particular perspective.
Yeah, well, I already have a perspective on husband and wife dynamic, personally speaking, and I always think the man should be in the leadership role. In other words, as men, we have to be leaders. I'm not talking about Mike Senior talking about his business. I'm talking about as men, right? So in other
Right.
words, is my wife is not going to have to tell me and my son that this is the move we're gonna make. No, I'm gonna tell her and my son this is the move we're gonna make because I strategize this, right? So what I'm basically saying is on this note when there's familiarity and there's so much emotion from a father's standpoint to a point where it's like yo, my son want to fight, I want him to fight, we got to get the bag. That's when it becomes detrimental. And I say that because since you asked me, Mike Senior, he made a reference last night. I have Monty Brown TV in the chat and he can actually, not to bring Monty Brown in it, but he was there. So if I'm misquoting Mike Senior, maybe he can correct me. But I thought I heard Mike Senior say last night on Everything Boxing's channel that that his son was training in the gym on Wednesday nights. I thought that I heard him say that after he bought the plane ticket to bring Mike Jr. back home, they went right to a gym like that day when his jaw was messed
Mhm.
up. So I think they were still trying to salvage the fight a little bit because they didn't understand the severity of how whether the jaw was fractured or whether it's tooth or whatnot or teeth, or whatever.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I think that they were trying to salvage the fight for the bag, but then it got to a place where once they got to the dentist, the reality set in like, damn, this is more severe than what I thought. But at that point, no commission was going to approve the fight with that condition of Mike Jr. Absolutely not. It was
Okay.
not going to ever happen.
Okay. Well, I definitely appreciate you giving your perspective on that. Like I said, if you had already addressed it, I apologize. I caught you live late, but I just wanted to tap in, talk to you directly, answer that question directly instead of typing it. But I'm gonna jump off here, jump back to the comments and listen. Supporting your channel, man. Keep it going, manager Marty, and have a great one, brother.
Oh man, you do the same, brother. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate your feedback and your questions, man. And this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes a lot of fighters don't realize this until it happened to them. But there's a saying in boxing: you always have to be ready so that you don't have to get ready, right? And so, this is why it's important. It's like, yo, all fighters, even when you're in between fights, stay active in that gym. You never know when that call can come or you never know when your manager or your promoter can make a few phone calls on your behalf. So you gotta stay active, you know, in the gym. Lucky McKinnell says he also said that when he get paid for the fights, he slotted his son's spare change. Yeah, Lucky McKinnell's, I thank you for your feedback. I did address that, a little bit earlier, where Mike Senior did say that when his son fights, Roy Jones usually get paid first, and he's always getting paid, but then his son don't get paid because his reward is just a win. And then he said that sometimes he slide him 5 to 800. And my point to Mike Senior at that time was basically when you slide him 500 to 800, $500 to $800, you know that's equivalent to a 4 round fighter getting paid signed to a promoter. But your son is not signed to a promoter; he's a free agent. So that means he should be getting way more money, and plus he's competing with way more rounds than a 4 round fighter. He's a 6, 8, 10 round fighter, and so that's what I was trying to say to Mike Senior. So yes, Lucky McKinnell's. I spoke on that a little earlier. Um, yeah, so my thing is fighters got to stay ready so that they don't have to get ready. And it's unfortunate that Mike Jr., fractured his jaw. But I want to say this too, because I respect Monty Brown TV, because he acknowledged this as well. Last night he agreed with me. Monty Brown agreed with me when I said this, and I'm gonna say it now. I don't think I don't think this is over. I know that people that's in their camp might think this is the end of the world because it was a big fight with Adrian Broner. It was probably one of the biggest bags that they ever seen so far, money wise, that they could have been compensated for. But this is not over. I don't think this is over for Mike Jr. He's 23 years old. This is just a major setback. That's all. But he's 23 years old. He hasn't endured a whole bunch of punishment. He can recover as a young fighter. Okay, he can recover, and there are bigger bags to come. Like I said, his dad seemed like he know a little bit about the business or enough about the business to bring his son up the way he's brought him up. So, with his dad there managing him, right, and working on those things, he can basically put his son in another position to get more paydays. This is early in his career, y'all. So it's not over for the young man. He can still make something happen in the business and in the sport of boxing. He just have to recover from his injury on his jaw. You know what I mean? And then his father, the manager, got to put him in there with, no disrespect to the other opposition, putting him in there with lesser competition. That's what we do. That's not hating on nothing. That's what we do as managers in boxing. We put our fighters in there with fighters to rebuild for a confidence, rebuild the fighter's confidence, get his momentum back up. Anytime you get a knockout or something or injury, it kind of sets you back mentally. So we got to put him back into the mental stages of progressing in the ring. We have Elijah, who's here. He wants to join the show. Brother Elijah, how you doing this evening,
Hey,
sir?
what's going on, Marty? Salute.
Salute, brother. How you, man?
Everything good, man. Everything good, man. So, salute to you, man. Um, I just got a question, man, about the whole boxing situation with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, man.
Okay.
Far as your knowledge, what do you think? What is the major like hold up in all this back and forth of announcing and fully announcing and not announcing and like far as from your perception, like what is really going on with that?
Well, I think it's very simple, Elijah. That's a good question. Control. That's all it is. Control. De La Hoya want to control basically most of not just the event, but even the narrative. So and it's hard to do that when you're fighting on another fighter's network. It's hard to do that when the other fighter's the A side. You got to remember something, and this is actually a good thing for Oscar. Oscar been the A side basically most of his career. He's been
That's
the A side almost all of his career. So he really
fact.
don't have experience in knowing how it really feels to be the B side, right? So
Oh,
just because a fighter retires doesn't mean that they're not still fighters, right? Oscar is still a fighter, Bernard Hopkins, he's still a fighter. Floyd
Fact.
Mayweather, even though he's not in the ranks, he's still a fighter.
Still
So,
a
and I'm
fighter.
not just talking, yeah, he's still, so it's not just about physically, it's mentally. These guys are still fighters. So it's all about winning. And right now, De La Hoya wants to control so that he can win. It's just
Okay.
all bells and
But
whistles,
it's
man.
but at the same time, it's kind of like it's kind of killing it. You know what I'm saying, for the fans. You know what I mean? Like it's making it seem like you know how people already got speculations on this theory and that and this and that, and all that does is kind of like adds fuel to it. You know what I mean? And it's like keeping the fans kind of at bay when they want to see it, and then now we're like, and it's like real frustrating. You know what I'm saying? To especially to hardcore fans who really want to see this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But listen, that's a promotion tactic. Remember, De La Hoya is a promoter too now.
Hey, that's true. That's true.
So he's
That's
got to
true.
put it out there to make you want to buy it. And we already know controversy sells.
Absolutely.
Controversy sells. So
Absolutely.
it's no different. Watch this. Now I'm gonna tell you how controversy sells, not just in wrestling like WWE or boxing, even on YouTube. And I'm starting to learn that even on YouTube, right? I can say everything I'm saying on this video right now. I done taught so many things about the business of boxing that most fans didn't know before they got here, right?
Uh-huh.
But when I get done this live, YouTube might not push this out in the algorithm. But if I'm beefing with another content creator or we got beef going back and forth, we
Oh yeah, that's
arguing
hot.
back and forth,
Yeah, that's hot topic right there.
yeah, man, they gonna push that thing out
Yeah, yeah.
because
And that's a
it's what the
shame.
yeah, but that's how it is. But that's the people because that's what the people want to see. So De
Yeah,
La Hoya is the promoter, right? He know the
yes, sir.
hardcore fans want to see this fight. So what he gonna do is dangle that carrot and then put it back in his pocket and say, I don't know what's going on. If it don't happen, it's probably out here enough. And then when they get close, he gonna say, I told y'all we gonna make this fight happen because what it's doing is putting the fans on an emotional roller coaster. It's no different than what happened with Pacquiao and Mayweather. You see, it took them 5 years to get
Yeah,
it done.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
That
facts.
fight could have been done immediately following Pacquiao taking those tests.
Yep.
And
But they
so
had
he
to
did.
drag it to make the hype more and more and more and the weight and all that. So yeah, I get it.
So that's what's happening with De La Hoya. He's still a promoter now. He's got to
Yeah,
get you to really want to see it. And but the bottom line is, I think it's really going to happen. I think the bells and whistles is fading away. I think it's really going to happen. We'll see
yeah,
though.
yeah, 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 yeah. I can't wait for it, man. I can't wait,
Who,
man.
who you got on it before I let you go? Who you actually got on it, man?
I got I'm leaning,
Your service. Can you hear me, Elijah?
you know what I mean? I'm leaning, but
Your
Ryan is
service was
Ryan is no joke though.
your service was
Ryan is
your service keep freezing on us, Elijah. We love to hear what you have to say, brother.
now.
You freezing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now you hear me?
Yeah. All right, go back to what you said from the
Yeah,
beginning. I can hear you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I was saying that I lean towards Tank. You know what I'm saying, because of his skills and everything. But Ryan ain't no joke either. So it could go either way. But I lean a little more towards Tank myself.
Yeah,
You
we
know what I
gonna
mean?
see, man. We gonna see. Hey,
Yeah,
listen,
we're gonna see.
uh, Ryan Garcia got a good reach, and he keep that jab out there.
Absolutely.
He can
And
break
that's
Tank's timing.
exactly. And that's his
But
advantage. If he uses that advantage, then he definitely might he could pull that off.
yeah, a
If
good
he uses
jab
that
and speed always disrupts timing in this business.
exactly. The speed and
But
that
if he
reach.
let but if he let Tank
But
get on the inside,
exactly. If he let Tank get in his rhythm, he get into
it's
his
over.
rhythm, it's over. It's over.
It's over.
Yeah, man.
So
I just want to
50-50
say, man,
fight.
salute to you, Marty, man. Keep doing your thing, and I'm gonna be 100% honest and somewhat apologize, even though you don't know me. There was a lot of negativity going on with, back and forth with people about you and everything until I really, that's why you never judge nobody until you really get the full scope of a person. You know what I mean? So, but listen, man, you doing your thing. I salute you. Keep on doing it, man. And Don't listen to what people say or none of that nonsense, man. Just do your thing, man. You got a great platform and it's gonna grow. Trust me.
I appreciate that from the heart, man. Thank you. And I salute you for your feedback and thank you for your transparency, man. I appreciate that, brother.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
All
Peace.
right, you have a good evening, my brother.
All right, you too.
Man, this what this thing all about. Who else want to come on real quick? I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. Well, salute to everybody in the chat too. I'm trying to read everything. Oh, my head squinting. Mm. Salute. Somebody asked me something. I really wanted to answer their question. So I'm coming back in here. Oh, okay. All right. Hold on, let me put it up so people can know that I'm not making this up. MM, who would be the A side if we had Tank versus Haney? Man, I'm gonna keep it all the way 100. I'm gonna keep it 100. I said this on AM Sports Media channel, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think when they was in when I joined their channel, I think I said it then. Oh no, that was Ryan Garcia, my fault. Um, I believe that Tank Davis would be the A side against Devin Haney. Hands down. He definitely would be the A side. Because you gotta put this in perspective, right? Uh, uh, you can place Tank Davis, right? Salute to Spitboxing TV. I see you now in the chat. You can put um Tank Davis in a venue over in LA. He gonna sell it out. You can put Tank Davis in a venue in Atlanta. He gonna sell it out. You can put Tank Davis in a venue over there in Washington D.C. He's gonna sell it out. You can put Tank Davis over there at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. He's gonna sell it out. So when you have a fighter like that that can sell out multiple venues, it's really hard for another fighter that don't have that notoriety to compete and say that they're the A side. He's a big ticket seller. Tank is. And I'm not saying Devin is not a ticket seller. What I'm saying is we haven't seen him fight in different venues where it was like, yo, he packed the house to a point where he is a pay-per-view star. I don't know. I don't think Devin did one pay-per-view yet. I'm not sure if that Cambosa's fight was pay-per-view or not. Don't quote me on that. I should know this, but it was another fight that was coming on that. Who was that? I think that was Clarissa Shields and them. And I decided to watch that fight and Devin Haney's first fight. Or was that? Or what? No, no, no. That was Anthony Durrell and them. Because I had went to that fight. Anthony Durrell and Caleb Plant. I went to that fight in Brooklyn, so maybe that's why I don't remember. But my point is, we haven't seen Devin Haney on pay per view yet. If he was, it was probably against Cambosos. So we don't know what his reception is with a pay per view audience yet. At least we know that Tank Davis is a star, so Tank Davis will definitely be the A side in that fight. And it's not to say that Devin won't ever be a side, moving forward. Because I think he has the potential to do that. These guys are young, man. These guys is man, these guys are still young. And I just can't wait till all them guys get it on. Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, Devin Haney, you know what I mean, fighting Tank Davis or Shakur Stevens, all them guys, so Shakur Stevenson, all those guys, man, they good fighters, man. Those young boys, they can rumble, man. They good fighters. I can't wait till they mix it up. All four of them fighters can do what Leonard, Hagler, Hearns, and Duran did. They can be that type of brass. They can put that back on boxing. Them four fighters fighting each other and just getting it on. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, yeah. Salute to the chat. Don Dada. Don Dada says Haney can't sell out his hometown, Henderson, Nevada, let alone his father hometown in Oakland. Oh wow, I don't know. I don't know what his numbers was. I'm not sure if he sold out there or not. It would be nice if he really did, because he can fight, man. Devin Haney's a really talented fighter, and I think when he gets in the ring with like Tank Davis, that's 50-50. When he get in the ring with Ryan Garcia, that's 50-50 fight. When he get in the ring with Shakur, that's a 50-50 fight. Man, all these guys are 50-50 against each other. I can't wait to see it, man. We got some good boxing coming up too, y'all. The Zone just released their schedule. They released they new prices too. So I might not be able to, I might not, I don't know if I'm gonna still support them prices, but I will support the fights that they got coming up in the next few months. This is gonna be a busy year. This is probably gonna be the busiest year of boxing so far, y'all. January, February, next month in March, April, May, June, July. We got some big fights coming up, y'all. So boxing back on the map. Anybody else want to come on real quick before I let y'all go? I thank y'all for coming out. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all for coming out. Okay, somebody asked me a question real quick. Dundada says, Mr. Marty, if Loma does better ESPN Plus numbers, why Haney the A side? Well, that's a good question. Well, you got to understand that Lomachenko have a whole country behind him. Okay, and Lomachenko is one of Top Ring's top fighters. So I can't sit up here and say Devin Haney's the A side. Now he does have the belts now, so we never can take that away. We never can take that away from Devin Haney. But just because somebody got all the belts, don't make him the A side either, because it's all about marketability. It's all about who put, as AM Sports Media say, who put cheeks in seats. Who sells tickets, who draws the crowd, who do the fans want to see on pay-per-view, who have a country behind their back to support them, who's generating the most revenue. Those are the A-side fighters. So I can't necessarily say that Devin Haney's the A-side fighting Loma. Loma does good numbers. He got a whole country behind him too. Um, yeah, y'all. Hit the like button like my man. I don't game like I used to said. Appreciate y'all. Oh, I got to give it up to my boy right here. I stopped my show for him, one of my day oneers. My main man, Aaron H. Muhammad. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for your contribution and your feedback. And he says, everyone that can show Manager Marty some love in the super chat. Oh, excuse me. Everyone that can show Manager Marty some love in the super chat. The knowledge he's giving is priceless. That is so true. Thank you so much, Aaron H. Muhammad. And I accept all super chats and cash apps. I appreciate you all for your contributions and even just investing your time with me tonight. And I hope you all learned something that you didn't learn before. Let me go to somebody was saying something. My guy, he's another day oneer right here. My guy, Lucky McKinnels. He be saluting me and everything. So shout out to you again, Lucky McKinnels. Can you please speak on Michael Williams' father stating that he received numerous calls with offers of half the purse to not fight AB? Well, I don't know who the calls were made by. I mean, it do sound a little bit suspect if those calls really came through, because it's crazy how a promoter or people would pay half of what he was going to make with fighting Adrian Broner when none of the promoters was calling his phone before that. So, I hope that's not the case where, they was trying to stop AB's money. But I can tell you this, I'm not saying it's not true. If Mike Williams Sr. said it, hey, I don't have no verification to prove it's not true. What I'm saying is we can take Mike Sr. at his word that that's true. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you who didn't call him. And I don't even want to give out no sources, but I know it wasn't Al Heyman. And I know people keep saying PBC and Al Heyman try to stop that bag. Hey, to each his own, but I don't think it was Al Heyman that called him. I don't think that. Might have been another promoter or manager or somebody, but I don't think it was Al Heyman and PBC. Because my thing is this: let's say for argument's sake that it was Al Heyman. Why would they wait now? Why would they wait till both fighters sign a bout agreement? Why would they wait till contracts are signed? Why would they wait till the fighters obligated to a promotion? Why wait? If they really wanted them to fight on their card, whoever the promoters are, why wait now? Why wait until all this time now 2 weeks before a fight or a week before a fight to make that kind of call to Mike Senior. So if the promoters did do that, they nutty for that, whoever they was. But I can assure you it wasn't Al Heyman. And if it was Al Heyman, then I say verify it. It was PBC verified. See, because I'm a type of person like this. If I tell you that this is true, I'm able to verify it. I would never publicly say something that I can't verify. So if if you public with something now, you gotta be able to verify because somebody can ask you, "Oh yeah, you said that. Prove it." And I mean, you don't have to prove it, but I'm just saying some people can ask you to prove something if you speak on something publicly. So it's always good to have evidence. Just in, or, you know me, receipts, roll the tape. I roll the tape. You know what I mean? Roll the tape. Uh, 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 so that if somebody do say, "Well, Dag, you got a call from Al Heyman," you want to screenshot that real quick? You ain't got to show you ain't got to show how many minutes y'all was on the phone, but you screenshot that. You know what I mean? So people can be verifiable, like, oh, that was true. You know what I mean? Lucky McKinnels, thank you for your super chat, brother. Thanks, Manager Marty. I appreciate it. Hey, Lucky, I remember you saying in my comment section, you asked me something. Remember? I can't remember what video. I got distracted when I was trying to like all the comments and stuff. It was a previous video. But if you remember that question you was asking me, I meant to get back with you on that, brother. Appreciate your contribution again. Anybody else want to come up real quick before I let y'all go? I appreciate y'all time. Y'all stuck it out with me. 2 hours. I try not to drag it out too long because it is a Tuesday night. I respect everybody's time. And like I said, I'll be back on my live on Friday evening. We're gonna talk some more boxing. Live and live in color. And so from Tuesdays is gonna be my live day, and then Fridays, okay? And then y'all know throughout the week, I'm gonna drop some content. So I look forward to hearing from you all. Uh, Lucky McKinnels again says, it's also funny. His father said they had a fight scheduled for March. BLK Prime needs to stop stealing fighters from other fights. I'm not sure if I didn't hear Mike Senior say that when I was on the live with him. Maybe he said that on somebody else's platform. I didn't hear him say that. If he said it on Everything Boxing, I was in and out of the video because I wasn't there the whole time. So if he did say that, I don't know if he had fights set up or not. I can't um, confirm or deny that. But I will say if that is the case, that is crazy. But I think they found out earlier this month or something, right? That they was fighting Broner. So if a fight was already scheduled, then that means that something had to happen to get Mike Jr. off of that card if he did have a fight scheduled. So I don't know what the particulars were about that, but I know if that's the case, somebody had to get paid because the promoter is not going to allow another fighter that's supposed to compete on their card, especially after they've already invested uh, airfare, hotel stays, per diem, medicals, purse, and expenses that was already allocated for a fighter, and then come to find out that fighter goes and perform and render services on someone else's card. Oh, that promoter's going to have an issue with that. We've seen that happen with Ivan Redcatch, and we've seen it happen with Hank Lundy. And so, if that is the case that happened with Mike Jr., I know that if he was scheduled to fight and then he was pulled off of that card, th- there was approval that had to be made, and possibly somebody got slipped the envelope too. I'm just saying this be happening in the business, because the promoter is not going to lose money and then just think that hey, I'm gonna let y'all just go ahead and rock out, and make all this money, and then I'm out of all the money that I spent to have you on my card. That's not good business. So, you know, uh, Artwork says that he actually said it on Everything Boxing. Oh, okay. I wasn't on that pan. I didn't hear him because I was in and out of the live. I had turned the live off, had to make some phone calls. I was eating and all that. Then I jumped back on the live, so I didn't hear him say it. But we at the 2 hour mark, y'all. I appreciate all of your time. Thank y'all for viewing the channel. Thank y'all for asking me some questions. I know that you all agreed in the chat that you learned something that you did not know before you encountered this live this evening. I thank you for learning and just being here listening to me. I'm about to go take some medicine real quick and lay down for a minute. But I thank you all for joining me this evening. If you are watching the replay of this live, I thank you for sticking with me in this live. And I hope that you can comment in the comment section below. I love feedback. Thank you for everybody. Salute to you all in the chat. And I just want to say thank you all to my subscribers and those who haven't subscribed to my channel. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Don't forget to subscribe to my guys, Monty Brown TV, who was in the chat, and subscribe to AM Sports Media. Those platforms are really good. They're intelligent guys. Both platforms, they do a wonderful job with their content, and they are always honest and they keep it real. And that's why, I got a lot of respect for those guys. And so I'll check you all out on Friday during another live that I'm going to do, but also look forward to some content that I'm going to drop before Friday. All right. So salute to you all. Good night. And I'm Manager Marty. And y'all know what I'm going to see. Y'all know what I'm going to say. Don't take my word for it. What I'm going to say. Don't take my word for it. Let's see if y'all remember my slogan. Don't take my word for it. That's right. Roll the tape. You already know.